Look, I am going to be completely honest with you here. When High Commander Vexus told us we were being deployed to conquer Earth, I actually laughed. Out loud. In the briefing room. Which, if you know anything about Caltharian military protocol, is basically signing your own death warrant. But Vexus just stared at me with those three eyes of his and said, "Something funny, Scout Crix." And I said, "Sir, with all due respect, they still use chemical combustion for transportation." He did not find that as amusing as I did, but here is the thing. I had done my research. 3 months of surveillance duty orbiting that little blue marble had taught me everything I needed to know about humans. They were soft, squishy, died if you looked at them wrong, and their most advanced military technology was basically pointing metal tubes at each other and hoping the explosion went in the right direction. I mean, come on. They still had not even figured out faster than light travel. Half their planet did not have clean water. They spent more time fighting each other than developing any actual defensive capabilities. This was going to be the easiest conquest in galactic Dominion history. Spoiler alert. I was wrong, so incredibly wrong. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning. Or rather, 6 hours before everything went sideways, caught fire, exploded, and then somehow got worse. Our invasion fleet dropped out of hyperspace at exactly 0600 hours, Earth Standard Time, 12 dreadnoughts, 40 cruisers, 200 fighter craft, and enough ground troops to occupy a planet twice Earth's size. We appeared simultaneously over every major population center: New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, São Paulo, Lagos, Sydney, you name it, we were there, blotting out their sun with our ships. The plan was simple: show overwhelming force, broadcast our demands, wait for the inevitable surrender. Standard Dominion procedure. We had done this to 47 other worlds. It always worked the same way. The primitives would panic, their leaders would squabble, and within a few hours they would accept our terms. Assimilation into the Dominion, tribute payments, the usual deal. Scout Crix, status report. Vexus demanded from the command throne. I checked my console. Sir, all ships in position. Atmospheric analysis confirms the planet is as pathetic as predicted. Their detection systems are lighting up like festival decorations, but they cannot do anything about it. Their so-called fighter jets are scrambling, but they max out at speeds that would embarrass a cargo shuttle. No orbital defenses detected. No energy shields. No particle weapons. Nothing. Vexus clicked his mandibles together, the Caltharian equivalent of a satisfied smile. Excellent. Broadcast the message. Let us get this over with. I want to be back home in time for the Harvest Festival. I initiated the communication array. Every screen, every radio, every communication device on Earth simultaneously received our message. Pretty neat trick, if I do say so myself. Took our tech division years to perfect the hack. The message was simple: surrender or die, submit to the Dominion, or watch your cities burn. The standard speech. Vexus had given it so many times he could probably recite it in his sleep. Then we waited. This is usually when the panic starts. The screaming, the running, the complete breakdown of social order. We had seen it dozens of times before. But the humans, they did something unexpected. They went quiet. Not scared quiet, not shocked quiet, calculating quiet. Sir, my colleague Tech Officer Bryn said nervously. Their military channels just went dark. Complete communications blackout. They are panicking, Vexus said dismissively. Probably arguing amongst themselves about who gets to surrender first. I was not so sure. 3 months of watching humans had taught me one thing. When they went quiet, they were planning something. Usually something violent. Usually something stupid. But always something. Sir, I recommend we raise shields to maximum and maintain orbital distance, I suggested. Vexus laughed. Actually laughed. From what? Their chemical rockets? Crix, your caution is noted but unnecessary. These creatures barely have space stations. They pose no threat. Famous last words. As the humans would say, exactly 17 minutes after our broadcast, the first missile launched. Sir, detecting projectile launch from North American continent, Bryn reported. Trajectory indicates it is heading for the flagship. Vexus did not even bother looking concerned. One missile. How quaint. Point defense systems will handle it. The missile streaked up through the atmosphere, leaving a white trail behind it. Our automated defenses locked on, tracking its trajectory. Standard intercept protocols engaged. This was going to be easy. Then the missile split, and split again, and again. Suddenly there were not one but 47 separate warheads, all moving independently, all zigzagging through space in patterns that should not have been possible with chemical propulsion. "Sir," I shouted, "those are not simple explosives. Detecting nuclear signatures, multiple fusion warheads. They are using primitive atomic weapons." "Nuclear?" Vexus actually looked surprised. "I thought their treaties banned such weapons in space." Apparently someone forgot to tell them about their own rules. I was frantically working my console now, trying to retarget our defenses. Point defense systems are struggling to track. They are using some kind of evasive maneuvering. The first warhead detonated 300 meters from our flagship. Now here is something you need to understand about nuclear weapons in space. They do not work like they do in atmosphere. No big explosion, no mushroom cloud, no dramatic fireball. Just a massive pulse of radiation and energy. And our shield? They were designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic projectiles, not omnidirectional radiation bursts. The flagship's shields flickered.
Just for a second.
But that was all it took. The other 46 warheads detonated in sequence, creating a cascade effect that overwhelmed the shield generators. Alarms started screaming. Half the bridge consoles exploded in showers of sparks. "Shields down to 40%. Breen was practically screaming. "Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. Casualty reports coming in." And that was just from one missile. "How many more do they have?" Vexus demanded. I checked the sensors, and my stomach dropped. Well, metaphorically. We Caltharians do not actually have stomachs in the traditional sense. "Sir, I am detecting launch signatures from multiple locations. Hundreds of locations. They are launching everything they have." The sky lit up. Missiles poured out of silos hidden across Earth's continents. Submarines surfaced and fired from the oceans. Strategic bombers that we thought were primitive relics launched cruise missiles by the dozen. The humans were throwing everything at us. Every single weapon they had ever built for fighting each other was now pointed up at us. "Evasive maneuvers," Vexus ordered. "All ships, maximum thrust. Get us out of low orbit." But here is the problem with massive warships. They are not exactly nimble. We started to climb, burning our engines at full power. Some of the cruisers were faster, pulling away from the swarm of Enging warheads. Others were not so lucky. The dreadnought Eternal Conquest took a direct hit from what the humans apparently called an intercontinental ballistic missile. 12 fusion warheads detonated simultaneously against its hull. The ship split in half. Atmosphere venting into space along with about 3,000 crew members. They just destroyed a dreadnought. Rin was in complete shock. With chemical rockets. How is that even possible? Because we underestimated them. I was running calculations as fast as my neural processor would allow. "Sir, these weapons are crude, but they are using them smart. They are not trying for accuracy. They are creating overlapping kill zones, overwhelming our defenses with sheer numbers." Another dreadnought went dark, its power core breached by a sustained nuclear barrage. A cruiser tried to run, got caught by a missile it never saw coming, and simply ceased to exist in a flash of atomic fire. We had been in Earth's orbit for less than 30 minutes, and we had already lost 3 capital ships. "Return fire." Vexus roared. "Show these primitives what real weapons look like." The fleet opened up. Plasma cannons, particle beams, railguns. Every weapon we had. The energy discharges lit up the night side of Earth like a second sun. Our targeting systems locked onto their launch sites, and we unleashed hell. And do you know what the humans did? They launched more missiles. Not from the same locations, oh no. They had apparently anticipated this. Every launch site we destroyed had already been evacuated. They were using mobile launchers, constantly moving, firing, and relocating before we could target them. It was like trying to swat insects. You could kill 100, but there were always more. "This is insane," Rin shouted over the chaos. "They are fighting like they have nothing to lose." "They do not," I said quietly, watching another wave of missiles climb toward us. We gave them a choice, surrender or die. They chose option 3. "There is no option 3. Tell them that." A proximity alarm screamed. I looked up just in time to see a fighter jet, an actual atmospheric fighter jet, somehow climbing to near-orbital altitude on what had to be its last reserves of fuel. It was not supposed to be able to reach this high. The pilot was probably dying from hypoxia and radiation exposure. But there it was, and it was headed straight for us. What is it doing? Vexus demanded. I checked the readings and my blood went cold. Well, again, metaphorically. Sir, that fighter is carrying a tactical nuclear weapon, and based on its trajectory, the pilot has no intention of pulling away. He is going to ram us? No, sir. He is going to detonate inside our shield perimeter. For a moment, nobody moved. We all just stared at the sensor display, watching this one human in his primitive little aircraft, already dead from radiation, but still flying, still fighting, heading straight toward a ship 50,000 times his size. Shoot it down, Vexus ordered. We tried. Point defense lasers, plasma bursts, everything. But the fighter was small, fast, and the pilot was flying like he was possessed. He dodged, weaved, somehow staying ahead of our targeting solutions. He got within 100 meters before we finally hit him. The nuclear weapon detonated. Our bridge lights flickered. The artificial gravity failed for 3 seconds. When it came back, half our systems were fried. The shield generators were offline. Life support was running on backup power, and that was one fighter, one pilot, who was already dying, who threw himself at us anyway. Status report. Vexus demanded, his voice shaking now. Shields offline. Hull integrity compromised. We are venting atmosphere on multiple decks. Rin was frantically trying to coordinate damage control. Casualties across all sections. Engineering reports the main reactor is fluctuating. Get us higher. Full retreat to high orbit. The remaining ships of our fleet burned their engines. Climbing desperately, we lost 2 more cruisers on the way up, caught by long-range missiles that somehow, impossibly, tracked us all the way into high orbit. Finally, we reached what we thought was a safe distance. 15,000 kilometers up. Far enough that their missiles would burn out before reaching us, we thought. Sir, I said, staring at my console in disbelief. The humans are launching something new. More missiles. No, sir. These are different, bigger, slower. But they are still coming, and they are not slowing down. Vexus pulled up the tactical display. We all watched in horrified silence as dozens of massive rockets climbed toward us. They were not elegant. They were not sophisticated. They looked like they had been built in someone's industrial complex and fueled with whatever they had lying around. But they were coming. What are those? Vexus asked. I ran every analysis I could. Chemical composition, trajectory, payload. When the results came back, I started laughing again. Not because it was funny. Because it was so insane that laughter was the only response that had sense. Sir, those are cargo rockets. Space station resupply vehicles, satellite launchers. They have loaded them with nuclear weapons and pointed them at us. That should not work. Tell them that. The first improvised weapon reached our formation. It was crude, slow, and our point defenses should have destroyed it easily. But we were damaged. Our systems were strained, and there were just so many of them. It detonated among the cruiser group. 3 ships went dark. Retreat, Vexus ordered. All ships, retreat to lunar orbit. Now, we ran. The vaunted galactic Dominion fleet, conquerors of 47 worlds, ran from a species that still used chemical combustion. We fled to the far side of Earth's moon, trying to put the whole satellite between us and those insane humans. Our fleet was in shambles. 9 dreadnoughts had become 6. 40 cruisers had become 23. We had lost count of how many fighters, and we had been in their system for less than 2 hours. This is impossible, Vexus kept repeating, staring at the damage reports. They are primitives. They should not be able to do this. Sir, I said carefully, I think we may have made a fundamental miscalculation. You think? The humans have been fighting each other for their entire recorded history. They have spent millennia developing better ways to kill each other. They have thousands of years of warfare in their cultural memory. And we just gave them a common enemy. Vexus looked at me with all 3 eyes. Are you saying we cannot defeat them? I am saying we might want to reconsider our approach. This is not going to be the easy conquest we anticipated. An alarm interrupted us. Ren checked his console and went very, very still. Sir, detecting multiple launches from the lunar surface. The moon. But they do not have any bases on the moon. They do now, sir. Looks like they launched several rockets right after we appeared, past deployment. They landed, set up, and now they are firing at us from behind. The humans had somehow managed to land troops and weapons on their own moon in less than 2 hours and were now shooting at us from a position we thought was safe. How? Vexus demanded. How did they do this so fast? I checked the communication intercepts we had been monitoring. And then I understood. Sir, they have been planning for this. Not for us specifically, but for someone like us. They have contingency plans. They call them, let me translate properly, doomsday protocols. Apparently they have been preparing for hostile alien contact for decades. Just in case. Just in case? Vexus looked like he was going to be sick. They prepared for an alien invasion just in case. Sir, these beings have fiction genres dedicated to this exact scenario. They have spent their entertainment industry running simulations of alien attacks. They have thought about this. A lot. More missiles launched from the lunar surface. We scattered. Our fleet breaking formation as we tried to avoid getting hit. It was chaos. Complete, utter chaos. And then the humans did something that made me realize we were not just fighting a primitive species. We were fighting something much, much more dangerous. They stopped shooting, just like that. The missile launches ceased. The nuclear detonations stopped. An eerie silence fell across our communication channels. What are they doing? Vexus asked. I checked every sensor, every scanner, every monitoring system we had. The humans had gone completely dark. Their military channels were encrypted beyond our ability to crack. Their launch sites had gone silent. It was like they had simply vanished. Sir, I do not like this. When humans go quiet, they are planning something. Let them plan. We have them outgunned, outmatched, and outnumbered. We just need to regroup and hit them with everything we have. Full orbital bombardment. Turn their cities to glass. They will surrender soon enough. Sir, I respectfully suggest we open negotiations instead. Perhaps we can come to some kind of agreement. Negotiations? With primitives who just destroyed half our fleet? Absolutely not. We will show them the true power of the Dominion. Ready all weapons. Prepare for sustained bombardment. We are ending this now. That was 4 hours into the invasion. We had no idea that the humans were just getting started. So there we were, hiding behind Earth's moon like cowards, which, let me remind you, is exactly what we were at that point. Vexus was busy convincing himself that we still had the upper hand. I was busy trying to figure out why every instinct I had was screaming at me to leave this system immediately. Commence orbital bombardment in 30 seconds, Vexus ordered. Target their major population centers first. New York, Beijing, Moscow. Show them what happens when they defy the Dominion. I pulled up the targeting systems. My hands were shaking. Well, my appendages were shaking. You know what I mean. Sir, confirmed targets locked. Plasma cannons charged. Particle beams ready. Awaiting your command. 20 seconds. The humans were still silent, still dark. I kept scanning, kept searching for any sign of activity. Nothing. It was like the entire planet had just decided to take a nap in the middle of an invasion. 10 seconds. Sir, I really think we should reconsider this approach, I said one last time. Maybe we can send a diplomatic envoy, open a dialogue, find a peaceful solution that does not involve turning their planet into a wasteland. Your concern is noted and ignored, Scout Crix. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. It is when every single alarm on the bridge started screaming at once. Sir. Bryn practically threw himself at his console. Detecting massive energy spike from the planetary surface. Multiple locations. Energy signatures are off the scale. What kind of energy? Vexus demanded. Unknown. I have never seen anything like this. It is not nuclear, not chemical, not anything in our database. On the main view screen, Earth suddenly lit up. And I do not mean a few scattered lights. I mean the entire night side of the planet became as bright as day. Massive beams of coherent energy stabbed up through the atmosphere, lanced straight, burning through our sensor arrays. Lasers, I shouted. They have ground-based laser arrays. Massive ones. How did we not detect these before? Because they were not active before. Rin shot back. They must have been powered down, hidden from our scans. They just brought them all online simultaneously. The first beam hit the cruiser Domination's Pride. The ship's shields held for approximately 2 seconds. Then the beam punched through the shield, through the armor, through the entire length of the ship, and out the other side. The cruiser exploded, scattering debris across lunar orbit. Evasive maneuvers. Get us moving. Vegas was on his feet now, watching his fleet get torn apart. But the beams kept coming. Dozens of them. All perfectly coordinated. All tracking our ships with impossible accuracy. Another cruiser died. Then another. A dreadnought tried to run, got hit by 3 beams simultaneously, and simply melted. Where are they getting this kind of power? Vexus was screaming now. This is not primitive technology. I was frantically analyzing the beam signatures, and then I saw it. Sir, they are using their power grids. All of them. They have connected every power plant on the planet into a single network and are channeling all that energy into these weapons. They are literally burning their own infrastructure to shoot at us. That is insane. Their cities will go dark. Their civilians will have no power. I do not think they care, sir. Another dreadnought exploded. We were down to 3 capital ships now. 3 out of 12. And we had been here for less than 5 hours. Full retreat. Vexus ordered. All remaining ships. Emergency jump to hyperspace. Get us out of this system. I started punching in jump coordinates. So did every other navigator in what was left of the fleet. We needed to get far away from Earth. Regroup. Call for reinforcements. Maybe rethink our entire career choices. The jump drive started spinning up. 30 seconds to full charge. We just needed to survive for 30 more seconds. That is when the railgun rounds started hitting us. Not missiles. Not lasers. Solid chunks of metal, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, fired from somewhere on Earth's surface. They did not explode. They did not need to. At those velocities, a telephone pole-sized chunk of iron hits with the force of a nuclear weapon. One of the rounds hit our flagship right in the engine section. The entire rear quarter of the ship crumpled like paper. Our jump drive went offline. Emergency thrusters fired randomly, sending us into a stabilize. Someone stabilize this ship. Vexus was holding onto his command throne, all 3 eyes wide with panic. Rin was working frantically. Trying, sir, but maneuvering thrusters are not responding. We are in an uncontrolled spin. Through the spinning view screen, I caught glimpses of the rest of our fleet. The remaining dreadnoughts were trying to jump, but the humans were targeting their drives specifically. Every ship that tried to flee got hit. One managed to actually enter hyperspace, but its jump field was destabilizing as it vanished. I did not give good odds on it arriving anywhere intact. And then right at the 5-hour and 47-minute mark, the humans played their final card. Sir, I managed to shout while holding onto my console, detecting launches from Earth. Multiple launches, but these are not missiles. What are they then? I stared at my readings, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. They are capsule, small, dozens of them. They are heading straight for our ships. Boarding pods? Vexus looked confused. They are trying to board us. That is suicide. The first capsule hit a cruiser. Magnetic clamps engaged. Cutting torches activated. Within seconds the capsule had breached the hull. Then we heard the screaming. Over the communication channels, across every frequency we heard our troops screaming. Not from decompression, not from any weapon we recognized. Just screaming. Pure, absolute terror. What is happening on that ship? Vexus demanded. Someone give me a report. Static. Then a voice, one of our soldiers, breathless and panicked. They are inside. The humans are inside. They just came through the walls. They have weapons, sir. Handheld weapons, and they are not stopping. We are hitting them, shooting them, and they keep coming. One of them took 3 plasma rounds to the chest, and he just kept fighting. They are not supposed to be this dangerous. They are not supposed to be this strong. They are everywhere. They are killing everyone. Oh gods, they are at my position. They are breaking through the door. I can hear them shouting something. What is that word? What are they saying? It sounds like. Remember something. I cannot. Oh no, they are here. They are. The transmission cut off. More capsules hit more ships. Every vessel they boarded went dark within minutes. Radio silence. No survivors. Just silence.
What did that soldier say?
I asked quietly. Remember what? Rin checked the translation matrices. I think it was remember the Alamo. Or remember Pearl Harbor. Maybe remember September 11th. The translation software is having trouble. They are referencing multiple historical events, battles they lost, attacks on their people. They seem to have a lot of things they remember, They are using their own defeats as battle cries. Vexus looked like his brain was breaking. What kind of species does that? The kind that learns from failure, sir. The kind that turns loss into motivation. The kind that never ever forgets. Our ship finally stabilized. We had managed to kill the spin using emergency thrusters, but we were dead in the water. No jump drive, main engines offline, life support running on backup. And those capsules were still coming. How many ships do we have left? Vexus asked quietly. I checked. Swallowed hard. 2 cruisers, sir, both heavily damaged. One is requesting permission to self-destruct before the humans board them. The other just went silent. Out of an entire fleet. Yes, sir. In under 6 hours? Yes, sir. Vexus sat down heavily on his command throne. For a long moment he just stared at the view screen, watching Earth spin slowly below us. Beautiful. Peaceful. Absolutely terrifying. We need to evacuate, he said finally. Light pods. Get everyone off this ship before those boarding parties reach us. Sir, if we abandon ship, we will be floating in space with no way home. If we stay on this ship, we will be dead. I prefer the first option. Give the order. All hands, abandon ship, and send a priority message to Dominion High Command. Tell them that Earth is not ready for conquest. Tell them to avoid this system. Tell them the humans are too dangerous. I started broadcasting the evacuation order. All across the ship, crew members began heading for the life pod bays. We had maybe 1,000 pods, enough for most of the crew. Not all, never all. That is when the capsule hit our hull. The sound of cutting torches echoed through the ship, distant at first, then closer. The humans were coming, fast. Go. Vexus pushed me toward the escape corridor. Get to the pods. I will send the message to High Command. Sir, you need to come with us. Someone has to make sure that message gets sent. Now go. That is an order. I ran. I am not proud of it. But I ran. Through corridors filled with panicked soldiers, past bulkheads being sealed to slow the human advance. Down 3 decks to the life pod bay. There was already a crowd. Too many people. Not enough pods. Fights were breaking out as crew members struggled to get inside. I found Bryn in the chaos. Did you make it? Barely. This whole operation was a disaster from start to finish. I am never trusting intelligence reports again. Assuming we survived to file reports, we squeezed into a life pod with 6 other crew members. The door sealed. The pod ejected, throwing us into space with a violent jolt. Through the small window I could see our flagship, the once mighty vessel that had led the conquest of dozens of worlds, now just a dying hulk, trailing atmosphere and debris. More pods ejected. Dozens of them, hundreds, scattering into the void like seeds from a dying flower. And then the flagship exploded. Not from human weapons. Vexus had set the self-destruct. Better to destroy the ship than let it fall into human hands. The explosion was beautiful in a terrible way. A brief new star in Earth's orbit, then just debris. Our pod drifted. We had no propulsion, no way to navigate, just basic life support and a distress beacon that no one was going to answer. We were stranded, defeated, humiliated. How long do we have? One of the other crew members asked. I checked the life support. Oxygen for maybe 10 days. Food for 5, water for 7. Assuming nothing breaks down. So we just wait to die, or wait to be rescued, or wait for the humans to find us. That last option scared everyone more than dying. We floated in silence for a while, watching Earth rotate below us. From up here it looked so peaceful. You could not see the war, could not see the weapons, could not see the species that had just destroyed an entire invasion fleet.
I do not understand, Bryn said quietly.
We had superior technology, superior numbers, superior everything.
How did we lose?
We did not lose to technology, I said. We lost to something else, something we did not account for. We lost to a species that has been at war for its entire existence. We lost to a species that turns every defeat into a lesson, every loss into motivation, every setback into determination. They do not just fight to win. They fight like losing is not an option. But they are primitives. They were primitives, with nuclear weapons. Primitives who built lasers powerful enough to burn through our shields. Primitives who launched boarding parties knowing most of them would die. Primitives who weaponized their own infrastructure, sacrificed their own comfort, and threw everything they had at us without hesitation. Tell me, Bryn, Does that sound primitive to you? He did not answer. Another crew member spoke up. Do you think they will come looking for us? The humans? Maybe. Probably. They seem like the type who would want prisoners. Information. Or maybe they just want to make sure we are not a threat anymore. What do we do if they find us? I thought about that. About the screams over the radio. About the boarding parties. About the soldier yelling "Remember" as he charged into battle. About the pilot who flew into our shields knowing he would die. We surrender, I said, immediately and completely. We give them everything they want, and we pray that they are more merciful than we would have been. The pod drifted in silence. 3 days later, a human ship found us. It was not what I expected. Not a warship, not a battle cruiser bristling with weapons. Just a small spacecraft, civilian design. It matched our velocity, extended a docking tube, and a voice came over our communication system. Caltharian vessel, this is the emergency rescue ship Horizon. We have detected your distress beacon. We are here to help. Please prepare for boarding. We looked at each other. This had to be a trick. They were going to board us, capture us, probably torture us for information. The airlock cycled. The door opened. 3 humans stepped through. They were wearing pressure suits. Medical equipment, no weapons. One of them, a female with dark skin and kind eyes, smiled at us. Hello, I am Dr. Amara Osei. These are my colleagues, Marcus Webb and Yuki Tanaka. We are here to get you to safety. Is anyone injured? We just stared. This was not what conquerors did. This was not how you treated an enemy who had just tried to destroy your world. I do not understand, I said finally. We tried to invade your planet. We killed thousands of your people. Why are you helping us? Dr. Osei knelt down to my level. Her expression was gentle. Understanding. Because you are lost, scared, running out of air, and despite everything, despite the war, despite what your leaders decided, you are still living beings who deserve help. That is what we do. We help those who need it. But we are your enemy. You were following orders. Just like we were defending our home. The war is over now. Your fleet is gone. Your commanders are dead or captured. You are just survivors. And we do not abandon survivors. They took us aboard their ship, fed us, gave us water, treated our injuries. No torture, no interrogation, no threats. Just medical care and basic decency. As we were leaving lunar orbit, heading back to Earth, I looked out the window at the debris field. All that remained of the proud galactic Dominion fleet. Shattered, destroyed, defeated by a species we had dismissed as primitive. What will happen to us? I asked Dr. Osei. You will be given medical treatment, food, shelter. Eventually you will be asked questions about your people, your government, your technology. But all of that can wait. First, we make sure you are okay. And after that, she smiled. That depends. Some of your people are asking for asylum. They do not want to go back to the Dominion. They want to stay here. We are considering those requests. Others want to go home. We are trying to arrange that too. We are not monsters. We do not keep prisoners forever. I looked at her. At this human who was showing kindness to an enemy, who was helping those who had tried to destroy her world, and I understood something important. We had not lost because the humans had better weapons. We had lost because they had something we did not. Something the Dominion had forgotten in its centuries of conquest. They had principles, values, things they fought for beyond just power and territory. They fought for each other, for their home, for the idea that all beings deserve dignity and respect, even their enemies. I am sorry, I said quietly, for what we tried to do to your world. I know, and I accept your apology. Now rest. You have been through a lot. The ship continued toward Earth, toward the planet that had defeated the Dominion, toward the species that we had called primitive, but who had taught us the most important lesson we had ever learned. Never underestimate someone fighting for their home. The invasion lasted 6 hours. Then the humans got serious, and they did not just defeat us. They showed us mercy. Somehow that was worse. Because now we had to go back to the Dominion and explain that we had lost to a species that was not just stronger than us. They were better than us. I spent the next weeks in what the humans called a detention facility. It was nicer than our military barracks. We had comfortable beds, good food, medical care, entertainment. They even gave us access to their information networks so we could learn about their culture. I spent my time reading their history, their wars, their struggles, their triumphs and failures. The more I learned, the more I understood why we had lost. These beings had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, genocides, disasters natural and self-inflicted. They had clawed their way up from primitive hunters to spacefaring civilization through sheer determination and refusal to give up. They had split the atom, walked on their moon, built machines that could think, and they did it all while fighting each other. They were not peaceful, they were not gentle, they were not saints, but when they needed to be, when their home was threatened, they could unite. They could focus all that competitive, aggressive, stubborn energy on a single goal, and nothing could stand against them. The Dominion High Command eventually sent a ship to retrieve us. We were loaded aboard, processed, and sent home. I expected court-martials, executions, disgrace. Instead, we were debriefed, questioned. Every detail of the invasion was analyzed, and then quietly, a decision was made. Earth was marked as a forbidden zone. No Dominion ship was to enter that system, ever. The official record stated that the invasion had failed due to unexpected resistance and that further attempts would not be cost-effective. The unofficial truth? The Dominion was scared. Scared of a species that had beaten us with primitive technology. Scared of what they might become when they developed faster than light travel. Scared of the day they might decide to return the favor and visit our worlds. I was reassigned to a desk job, monitoring deep space communications. Boring work. Safe work. I was grateful for it, but sometimes, late at night, I would access the long-range sensors and point them toward Earth, toward that little blue planet spinning around its yellow star, and I would wonder what they were doing, what they were planning, because I knew the humans. I had studied them, I had fought them. I had been shown mercy by them, and I knew that they never forgot. Someday, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday, the humans would reach the stars, they would develop their technology, they would explore, and when they did, I hoped I was far, far away, because the galaxy was about to learn what I had learned, what the Dominion had learned the hard way. Humanity did not need to be the strongest species, they just needed to be the most stubborn. And in a universe full of powerful species who had forgotten how to struggle, how to sacrifice, how to fight for what mattered, that stubbornness was the most dangerous weapon of all. The invasion lasted 6 hours. Then the humans got serious, and the galaxy would never be the same.